Go.
Hi, Doug Schakel here from Johnson County Community College in Overland Park, Kansas. In our last YouTube video, the triangle zone offense, we obviously featured an attack that would attack the different kinds of zone defenses. Tonight, in our next YouTube video, we're going to take that same triangle zone offense and adapt it with man-to-man options so that indeed we can attack man-to-man defenses. So with no further ado, we'll go to work. What we're going to do here is we're going to take a look at, do a review of the basic triangle zone offense and the continuity that goes with it, and then we'll piece in the man-to-man adaptations so you can see how it's going to be run against a man-to-man defense. So Emily, if you'll get us started by number 1 is going to pass number 3 and come into the ball side corner, and Los, number 4 is going to go to the top of the key. Okay, Brody, a little wider for me, please. There you go. All right, we're in a basic sideline triangle right here. Now, the continuity in this, I wanted to get into the continuity first so that it'll be easier to fit these other pieces together as we go on. The continuity is this. 3 is going to pass to 4 and begin to creep toward the lane. Okay, now, when 4 gets the ball, there's a buddy system possibility here. 4 and 5 are buddies, and 4 is looking for 5. But if he doesn't have anything, we don't have anything going there, then 5 is simply going to just hold that position for right now. The ball will be relayed to number 2. You want to time your cut here, Steve, number 3, so that you would arrive about in the middle of the lane as number 2 catches the ball, and that would be our first option right there, would be to hit him, but we're not going to do that. If you don't receive that ball, then you're going to go on into the ball side corner now, Steve, and after you make your pass and as he clears number 4, you're going to dive into the low post area, and Eric, you're going to replace him at the top of the circle. Emily, you're going to come out of the corner and be the wing right here. All right, so we'd be looking for possibilities in the post again. If not, we throw to 5. Quick look there, nothing going, relays it to number 1. Brody, you're creeping, and we're looking to see if we can hit him. Hands ready. If not, dive, Eric, after your pass to Emily. This way, this low post. Okay, these guys haven't run this before, so they're learning as you're learning, coaches. And you're right, Los, you come up high. Here comes the pass. Emily creeps, relay. There goes a dive by number 4. 5 is going to come out to the top of the circle. Reverse to 5. Over to 2. Creep, Steve, and dive, Eric, right behind him. And Los to the top and stop right there. So that's the basic continuity. All right, what we're going to show right now is how we get into the offense. We either enter it, it's either going to be after a score or after a missed opportunity by our opponents. But what's going to happen here is the ball, in a moment, will go up on the board. We'll get the rebound, outlet it to number 1. 3 and 2 are going to run down into their wing areas. For the 4 and 5 man, it's first come, first serve. So we have a rim runner. Whichever one of those 4 and 5 can get out first is going to run right to the rim of the basket, and they don't get it, they will pop out ball side. The other post man is going to come down and he'll trail up at the top of the key. So, Emily, what you're going to do is you're going to advance the ball up the floor, pass to a wing, go right into the corner, and we'll go right into the continuity, and we'll change sides of the floor a couple, 3 times. All right, ready, and here it is. Ball's up, rebound, outlet. We're running number 4's the first post in. Here he comes. We've established the triangle this side. We go, swing the ball the other side, dive, Eric. Here comes the replace, swing the ball, swing it over here. Come Brody and creep, looking for Brody, not there. Dive, replacement, swing the ball again. Emily's creeping the ball, dive, Eric. And we'll stop right there. Okay. All right, what we're going to take a look at right now is what we call 3-man and 5-man. And really, 3-man and 5-man is a code word for how many passes we're going to make before anybody even thinks about trying to score. What we're trying to do, key thing here is we don't want to be a first side attack team. When you attack on the first side, you don't get fouled, you don't get offensive rebounds, your field goal percentage is low, and you'll commit 70% of your turnovers. Once you get to the second or third side in an offense, those numbers flip dramatically because you have mentally and physically occupied the defenders, and they're not just adjusting, they're running to keep up. And so what we're going to show right now in a moment is what we call 5-man. Again, it really means it's code for 5 rapid passes. But that's what we would call out. We say 3-man, which would really be changing one side of the floor. 5-man, we're going to change the floor twice, and then we'll run something, one of our man-to-man options, but which we'll show you in more detail later. All right, are you guys ready for 5-man, rapid player movement, rapid ball movement, and go. This is 5-man. There's 1 pass, quick, real quick, 2, real quick, 3, dive, 3, that's it, 4, 5, dive, split the post, boom, here goes Emily, here comes, that's it, throwing to Lowe's, throw back out to Brody, dive, split the post, here comes Brody, here comes Emily, and we're there. All right, stop. Good. We're going to take a look at the sideline triangle options that are available to us now. So, Emily, go ahead and make the pass, go in the corner. By the way, back it up for just a second. Just back it up for just a second. And this time, dribble at Steve and push him into the corner. This is a push option where Steve's overplayed, can't catch the ball, so she just dribbles it in. So that's a possibility. Again, number 4 comes high. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to try to get some scoring opportunities for these perimeter players. So the first one, we call it a rapid split. And what we want to do is that when I tell you to do this, Emily, you're going to do as we did earlier. You'll pass number 5, and she is going to make a speed cut to the basket. She's not going to change directions once or twice or kind of dance around trying to fake the defender out or anything else. She is going to throw and sprint. She runs a speed cut. And here's the deal. The hardest thing for a defensive player to do is to run backwards under control. And so this speed cut really gets that defense back on their heels. And then, Steve, you're going to time your cut so you kind of come almost off her rear end. And, Eric, you're going to pick. Now, here's what could happen. Number 1, when Eric gets the ball, okay, throw the ball, but stop. I mean, right away you'd be sprinting, Emily, but when he gets the ball, I mean, there's an opportunity for you just to score, and the split is not going to happen, or it's not going to develop because there was an opportunity. But we're saying the defense is, directly behind him. All right. So that's one possibility. So throw the ball back to Emily. All right. So here we go. We're going to go that, and it's 2 speed cuts. It's boom, fast. Here he goes, fast. Right on by, right on by. And now about Brody. As you see the ball go in, Brody's a little late, and that's my fault. He's going to come straight across. Now, what you've just seen is a pretty similar action that you see, Phil Jackson with the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan, and with the Los Angeles Lakers and Kobe Bryant, and now he's the general manager of the Knicks. This is year 2014 when we're filming this. He's the general manager of the Knicks, and they're running portions of the triangle offense. You're going to see either a split action or you're going to see a spread cut, and we'll show you that in a little bit. But the next part is that that wing just comes straight across the free throw line to the other side. Okay? Come back to your original spots, guys. So that's a rapid split with speed cuts. Okay? Now the next one, go ahead and pass, come in the corner. The next part here is what we call a delayed split, and what we're going to do here is that, Steve, you're going to make a pass. You will in a moment. You'll start a speed cut to the low side, but the defense may indeed try to jump and cut that path off. You have the option to change directions. You follow what I'm saying? So you're starting to go low side, and all of a sudden you cut over the top. Emily, you're going to delay your cut. So that once you see that Steve may not get the ball, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to start your speed cut over the top. But again, if your defender is really crowding you, you have the option to change directions. So again, I'm not sure. Let's do this. Los and Brody, come on across and just play defense on this right now. We'll kind of get an idea of what might be the possibilities here. All right. So again, Steve, you start the speed cut low. You may continue low, or you may change directions. Okay? All right. Yeah. All right. So here we go. Pass and speed cut. Here we go. And go. Pass, speed cut. That's exactly what we're looking for right there. All right. So again, then they would go to the other side. They'd fill out the corner spot and the wing spot, and we would have had a wing come across over to this side, and we'd be in shape right there. All right. Come back to your regular positions. Emily, go ahead and start in the corner. Go ahead and start in the corner. Los, you're up high. Yeah, come on up high. So the ball's been into the wing, and our point guard is going into the corner. A little lower, E, just a little bit lower. There you go. All right. So the next thing is a spread cut. And by the way, I want to say this, that if you're a youth coach, if you're a youth basketball coach, you don't want all these options. You want maybe the split and maybe the option I'm going to show you right now, and that's it. You don't want to, it's going to be too much for a lower level team to try to run offensively. All right, so this was called spread cut. Now this is the one that you see most commonly in the triangle offense that, again, Tex Winter, who was a consultant with the Bulls and Lakers, he was the guy really that originated this thing. And this time what we're going to do is the pass is going to go in, and both of you go straight across the floor. And so it's called spread cut. So they're going straight across the floor. Now stop. Okay, Brody, you are going to come, just like in the other one, you're going to come across and fill this wing. Now, if you've got a post player that can, that's pretty handy in here, there's great isolation as those people go by. But the other thing that happens is you'll get a defender that thinks they're going to run a split, and they start to dive toward the post players, and suddenly those players will run a spread cut, and so instead of a handoff, Eric, you're going to make a short little pass to either one of those that go by if they're open. All right, if they weren't open, you guys would go on to the wing in the corner. He'd throw the ball up to Carlos. Carlos relays the ball to 3, dive, replace in that position, and we're back in. Again, once again, we're on a triangle opportunity, sideline triangle opportunity right there, split, spread cut, whatever. All right, come back to this side. And I need defenders on these guys over here again. All right, so sometimes what happens is, this really shouldn't be a problem where defenders drop back and then they switch. Certainly if you ran only the split, that could create some problems. So what we're going to do is when the pass goes in, I want Brody, you're going to get down on one side of Eric, and Galos, you're going to get on the other side, and you'd be prepared to switch right here. So go ahead, make the pass. Now start to about walk speed in, Steve. About walk speed in. Brody, get a little closer to Eric. Eric, there you go. All right, now, Steve, you're taking the low route. You're taking that low route. Okay, so there's a switch, and you don't get it, so go on into the corner. Now, what Emily would do here, she's going to stay same side. And you can see the problem that creates for Carlos now all of a sudden, because she didn't run the split, and so that's a solo. That's we call it a same side cut. A same side cut. Okay. All right. And then Eric, here's the deal. Come on back here again, and Los, I want you to guard Eric this time. All right. So here's the possibility for a post player. This is really good if you have undersized post players. Ball goes into 5. Steve, take your low cut like you're going to on the split. Fake the handoff. Los jumps because he thinks he's going to do that. Now you wheel back into the middle for a scoring opportunity. You go the other way. So you would fake and then wheel back into the middle for a score. All right? Let's do that real quick. So Eric's going to look like this. Going to be hand and back into the middle. Okay, here it is. Speed cut coming by. Los helps, and we go in that direction right there. All right, good enough. Thank you. Let's see. The next thing we're taking a look at here is what we call solo cut and replace. Once again, what I want to do is the 4 and 2 are defenders now. You're going to drop back on either side of Eric, and you're getting ready to switch on this. So here's what's going to happen. Steve's going to pass and make his speed cut. Emily, you're either going to stay where you are, or you could slide up, but probably going to stay. All right, so go ahead and make the pass. Speed cut. Emily stays. Well, there's the problem for number 4 now, because he was waiting back there for the split. So if you have just a little bit of variety in these sideline triangle options, you can see that the defense cannot load up and just do one thing. Let's see. Let's go back into original setup. Emily at the point. Going to show you what we call a corner option here real quick. All right. And in the corner option, we're going to pass the ball to Steve and go in the corner, Emily. Los comes high. All right. Now, Steve decides he's going to pass into the corner, okay, and stop. Now, there's a possibility we may have a great pass into number 5 and the play's over, but we'll say that didn't happen, all right? So Steve is reading that too, because he wouldn't want to run in there and get in 5's way if that, if that were the case. But he sees that no advantage for number 5 low post. So Steve runs his low. He's going to run a. Oh, I'm sorry. Come on back. Eric, you're going to come out and set a screen on his man, okay? And he's going to make a cut, high or low, to the basket, looking for a return pass. Now here's the deal. We would hope. Los, go guard Eric real quick. Come on back, Steve. Okay, so you made the pass into the corner. Now we step out. Now make your cut. And Los says, I better help on this for just a little bit. Stop right there. All right? So the next thing you're going to do is he clears. As Steve goes by you, Eric, you're going to come set a ball screen for Emily. And what makes this good is that Carlos had to give some help on Steve as the cutter. And, of course, you'd clear to the other side, Steve. Okay? You're going on through. Los, you're going to return to, you'd return here, or maybe you come up to try to help on Emily, and then of course 5's going to roll to the basket, and either going to have 1 dribbling in for a little jumper from about 10 feet away, or she can drop it off to 5 rolling into the basket. That's called a corner option right there. All right, the next thing we want to talk about here is Emily, go ahead and throw the ball to 3 to Steve here and go into the ball side corner, and then Steve, I'm going to have you reverse the ball to Carlos up top and stop. All right, number 3 has really 2 basic moves that we use a lot. And one is a high route over the top of 5 against the man-to-man. And our 5-man, I should mention here that it depends on the ability of our 5-man what we're really going to do here. Now we've had, in my coaching career, I've had 12 All-American post players, one of which played in the NBA. And so when we have that situation, we're going to look for number 5 a lot. Those kids average anywhere from 21 to 28 points a game for us. And so they're going to get involved in this thing quite a bit. But, maybe you don't have someone that has that ability, and you can still get a lot of good out of the offense. So on the first one right here, Steve, you could, when the ball gets relayed to Brody, you can take an over-the-top route, which you've been taking. Go ahead and relay it, Los. So there's the high cut it would make right there. Come on back, Steve, because I'm going to run you to death here in a minute. All right, this time the ball went to number 2, and Steve chooses the low route. Okay, he's going to take the low underside, and again, looking for that possibility, and goes on into the corner if he doesn't have it, but don't do that right now, Steve. Come on back. Okay, hustle on back. The next thing that we do is what we call early cut. Now, let me just explain what early cut means. We've had 3 creeping in and then timing his cut, so that he could be in the lane or near the low post area, hash mark above, and to be able to receive a pass. On early cut, as soon as he passes, throw the ball to Steve again. Okay, as soon as he passes to Carlos at the top, it's just a dead sprint into the corner. There's no creeping, no nothing. Okay, so that's what we call that an early cut. And so you're not waiting for the ball to get to Brody or anything else, and you're probably going to do that whenever you do 3-man or 5-man. Because we're trying to really, move things along. All right. The other possibility, back Steve again. Another possibility is Steve passes to Carlos up top, number 4, and starts to, let's say you start to take a low route. Emily, you're starting to come out of the corner. He starts to go, keep going, and changes his mind and comes back into the ball side corner. Okay, he just runs a V cut. We call this a rebel cut. I don't know why we call it that, but many years ago we gave it that name. So that's a rebel cut. And again, what we could do here is we could hit Brody number 2 on that side right there. We got a whole side cleared out for a driver. If we do that, if we didn't, give the ball back to Carlos. He could fake a pass to Brody and come back to Emily. And we've got a defensive player got out of position on number 5. We're probably going to be able to throw a pass into him for a scoring opportunity. If not, we'd run the split the post action, which we'll show you later. All right, come on back, Steve, and then to your original position. And the other one is we just call it's a stay, in which Steve would simply throw to Carlos and just stays. And again, it may be a situation where, Carlos, you're going to make a fake over there, and you turn and come right back here. Once again, it's just a way to get it to that, it's an easy way to get it into our post player. Okay. All right, one other thing I want to show you is this. As I mentioned, that what we do with that 5-man in here on the continuity, really the continuity is the old shuffle offense is really what we're running right here. But the post player really can do, there's 3 things that can happen. One is when we throw 3 to 4 pass, okay, now 5, again, if he's a great post player, he might be fronted. Yeah, he might step in like that. Steve, actually go in there right now and guard him on the high side. Steve, just come on back, Eric, and face me. Okay, guard him and pretend the ball's at the wing. We're going to pretend the ball's. Go ahead and go up, Emily. Okay, we'll pretend the ball's there. All right. So here's one possibility is that, and don't do anything, guys, till I tell you. But the ball goes to 4. Okay, the ball goes to 4, Emily. Okay, now, Eric, what you're going to do, look at me, Emily, look at me. You're going to take your baseline foot and spin and pin just like that, exactly, okay? And Losa, we're going to throw a lobless. Here's how we do it. We throw it halfway between his hand and the basket with some hang time. Don't throw to the hand. It's halfway between the hand and the basket so he can release, go catch that ball and put it in. Okay, all right, come on back. Now, here's the other possibility, though. The other thing is it's man-to-man now, so we're going to try to obstruct the defender of number 3 when 3 makes this cut. So we have 2 possibilities. One is 5 can just simply step out and use a front screen on. Emily, go up and guard Steve for a second. Okay, so let's give the ball back to Steve. Now throw the ball. Now step up, Eric. Sets the screen. Cut high or low, Steve. Off of that, and we're looking for you as a possibility. If you don't get it, you go into the ball side corner over yonder. All right, and that's a possibility. Come on back, Steve. Hustle back now. All right. Now, I don't like that for a couple of reasons, and the reason I don't like that is that when number 5 steps out, first of all, I'm really worried about setting a moving screen, and big players they just have a thing about they want to stick out a hip or a foot or an elbow or something because they want to do such a good job to screen that player, and we end up with an illegal foul. The other thing I don't like about it is that let's say that number 2 let's throw the ball to Brody, and Eric's coming out to do that front screen, and Brody drives. Okay, and Steve may or may not be, or excuse me, Eric may or may not see him coming because he's focusing on setting a screen. But if he did, he would see that his defender came over to help on Brody, and then Eric would release and get the dump-off pass. But again, he may not see that, and so that's one of the reasons I don't like it. Or Brody, number 2 over there, may have shot a 3, and again, Eric is so focused on setting his screen that he doesn't see the shot, and he's not in a position to get an offensive rebound. So my preference actually here is that if we don't have a post player, or there's one aspect we've chosen not to try to really get him the ball, is he's just simply going to turn around and set a rear screen. He'll actually be facing the basket, straddling that line. Okay, get your rear end toward me. Rear end toward me, straddle the line, just like that. All right, and so what we do here is it's up to Steve, number 3, to run his man high or low into number 5, scrape off, and then see if we can get him at the bucket, and if not, he's going to cut into the opposite corner. Emily, come up and get Steve. Throw the ball, Steve. Real quick. All right. So again, throw the ball. It's a rear screen. So it's a rear screen. And he chose the low route right there. All right. Go on into the corner. Going into the corner. Here comes Carlos diving. And now number 5 comes up. And of course, Emily has changed from defense to offense, and we're covered there. So anyway, those are the 3 different ways that you can function in there in the continuity as far as what we're trying to do with that low post man. All right, what we're going to look at now is this is a system within a system. We call this the post buddy system, and so within this offense, you've seen that we value post play, and we're trying to get the ball to post players. Those guys are always looking out for each other. And now we're going to show you some of the adjustments. They've basically been run what I call the dive option all the time, where the high post will pass to a wing and dive into the ball side low post. We're going to show you some other possibilities right here. We've already talked to you about what indeed may take place down here in the low post, depending on the ability of that post player. So the first thing we're going to talk about is, we've talked about it earlier, but I want to mention again, Emily pass going to the corner. Carlos comes high. And by the way, everything we're showing here is a first side attack. We would not do this. We'd call 3-man or 5-man and then get into one of these things. You know, we want to get that defense moved first and occupied, and then we'll hit them with a split or a spread or any of those other things. Okay, so again, the ball goes to the high post, and again, I mentioned this earlier, it's a buddy system, so they're looking for each other. And here's the thing: if Carlos would hit 5 right now, but maybe he doesn't have a true advantage. He's coming to the lane, but he doesn't have a true advantage. After Carlos passes, he will either adjust for a jump shot possibility going to his left, or he will cut to the basket for a little give and go possibility. Okay, so this time he passed, and go ahead, Carlos. You pass to him, and you're looking for Carlos, and if his man goes to sleep, you can drop that pass off to him, and he's got something going. If not, give the ball back to Eric. Give the ball back. Stay down there, Los. Okay, so he didn't have him. Now, Eric, I just want you to dribble fast out to the top of the circle. And we are back. That's right. Los comes across. He could come right back to Steve. Steve, again, if you couldn't catch a pass right here, if you couldn't catch a pass because you're overplayed, you would run a rebel cut. That's that V cut. Let's say you're overplayed. We can't catch it. So you run a V cut, and this kid coming out of the corner is always open. And Los is throw up, return that pass, and we're looking for, our man inside right there. Okay. All right. Now, the same. So you understand? They're looking for each other all the time in that situation. All right. So throw the ball back to up top to Eric. So anytime that I'm trying to emphasize what I think we need to look for, we call this an eagle pass, and it's just a high to low pass. It's that we see an opening. It may be a lob, it may be a direct pass. It just may, Carlos is down there and he's got somebody that cannot guard him, and we want to get him the ball. And so my point of emphasis, I might say 5-man to eagle, 5-man to eagle, and then they would know we'd zip, 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 go through the 5 quick passes, and then bam, we're gonna drop that ball down in that low post area. All right. Go ahead, Emily, go back. No, let's do this. Stay there. Give the ball to Steve. Los, go ahead and stay in this low post area. Actually, Eric, come back and take the low. Los, go high. Wouldn't matter. They're interchangeable. You've seen that. All right. Again, one of the things we talked about earlier is what we call return pass. Great option. Think about this. We've moved the ball rapidly, either in 3-man or 5-man. 3 or 5 rapid passes. Ball comes to Carlos. He makes a hard ball fake toward that man right there, and you can imagine the defender on Eric down there is jumping to the ball, and then all of a sudden we come back. Now there's 2 options here on a return pass. He can come back to Steve, but even a better one is a skip pass to Emily. That defender is totally out of position now, and she's going to have a nice angle pass in there for that 5-man so again, you get that defense moving. All of a sudden you change directions on them, fake a pass and come back with a turn pass. You'll find some real good opportunities in there. All right. We've already shown you obviously the dive option. Now we're going to get into the screen game. All right. So what I'm going to do is stay right there, Los. Here's what's going to happen. Carlos has several options. Obviously, one of them is the dive option, and we want to mix these up because we don't want the defense to just get set and think that we're always going to do the same thing. Let me have Emily go guard Carlos, and Steve run in and guard Eric for right now. All right, we're just going to kind of half speed this. All right, so here's the first. We have that dive possibility, but this time what you're going to do, Los, is you're going to swing the ball to Brody, and you're going to down screen for Eric. Okay, so you set that screen and then flash to the ball side low post. All right, so that's one possibility. All right, that's just a straight cut up and a roll into the strong side. All right, give the ball to Eric. Los, come over to this side right now. We'll pretend that the triangle was over here. All right. Now the next possibility here is what we call a curl cut and replace. So Eric makes the pass to Brody. He comes down and set that down screen, and Los has don't screen error, Eric, screen a defender. There you go. All right. So Los decides that he's going to curl right over the top into the ball side post, and you'll replace yourself, Eric, back at the top. Okay? So that's a screen down, and he runs a curl cut, and then the guy who set the screen just replaces himself. All right? Go ahead and give the ball to Eric up top. Los, come on over here again. Again, pretend that the triangle is on this side, and now we've gone up top and we're swinging the ball. Now, stop right there. So the next thing we're going to do is what we call a backdoor cut. Here comes Eric down to screen for Los, and he's trying to fight this screen, and he goes backdoor. He just goes under Eric. Under Eric. Baseline shoulder of Eric. Yep, there you go. Right there. And Eric, you replace yourself again. Let's do that one again real quick. So, Carlos, what you're doing is you're starting to come up and then you backdoor. Okay? So there's the pass. Here comes the screen. He starts to go up. Boom. And he comes this way. Exactly. All right. Well done. All right. The next one is Los, go ahead and go up top. Eric, come on down low. Again, we'll pretend that the triangle is on this side, camera side of the court right now, and we've swung to the other side. Carlos, what you're going to do this time is you'll make that pass. You'll make one or two steps like you're going to down screen, just one or two, and then you shoot right into the low post area. So he'll either cut over that defender's face, or he'd cut behind or whatever the case. But he looks like he's going to start to down screen, and he takes one or two steps and then cuts. And of course, Eric, you'd come out on top as you did, and we'd be good right there. All right, now let's go again. Los up top, Eric's here. Now this time, take the defenders away. And Steve, go ahead and go in the other corner. Okay, you ran your cut through. Emily, come out to this wing. All right. Now in this one, we call this away and stay. What Carlos is going to do is he's going to pass to Brody. Okay, he's going to come to screen. He's going to come to screen. And Eric takes the straight cut up top of the circle. And this time, this time, Los is going to come to this. He's going to stay on this side, the side he's screened on. Now, we can throw, again, we could throw a skip pass right now, which would be a great pass. And all of a sudden, the defender thought Carlos was going to go to the ball side low post, and instead he came this side. And now we got to pass inside to him for a pretty easy score. So that could be done with a skip pass. It could be thrown, through Eric and reversed over here too. But that skip pass really makes it fast. All right, let's come on back here. And I should mention, we'll talk about some counters here later, but that's one thing that we will do quite a bit. Throw the ball to Steve. Now let's say Carlos is overplayed. They said, no, wait, enough of this high-low stuff. We're not going to let number 3 catch the ball. If that's the case, one of our options is for 3 to throw a cross-court pass, skip pass to 2, and chase your pass. And Carlos, let's say you down screen and come to the top of the circle. Now go float ball side post, boom, and we'd be in it right there. So that's just another way to reverse the floor, is to throw a skip pass, and especially if we've got that situation where we can't make that pass. Go back, let's fill this side again real quick. Hustle, guys. All right, this time we may have a situation where Steve's got the ball, and Carlos, again, is being overplayed. They're not going to let him, run this. And so what Steve would do is what we call penetrating dribble. He would take off, headed to just inside the foul line on the dribble. And probably what's going to happen, now he might be able to go all the way, but he gets into the red line, stop there for just a second. All right, now he's got a lot of options. One of which could be maybe for some reason Eric's man comes to help a little bit and he'd have Eric. Or he just, in a moment, or maybe he turns and throws back to Emily in this corner. All right? Or he hits Brody and continues on into the corner. All right, go ahead on into the corner. Now Carlos can dive, or he can set a screen. And now he goes ball side, low post, and we're back into it again. Those are just some, kind of some counters to use against, teams that try to overplay and take some of that stuff away. All right, the other option we have here is that, let's say that number 5 is a really good post player, and we don't want to keep him low most of the time, or the defenses have been doing some switching or whatever it is, and here's another way to counter that. So Emily, go ahead and throw and go into your corner. Carlos, come up high. Now, here's what we're going to do. Ball's going to go Carlos. Okay, he's going to, and go ahead, Steve, do your cut through relay to Brody. Now, here's what's going to happen. Eric chases the ball. He just chases the ball. He feels like he got somebody pinned, and Carlos just holds his position right in there. I want to show you an option. Go ahead and get back to the original lineup, guys. And I want to show you a couple of options. Again, if you've got good guards, this is a really good option. And so we're going to do this. Emily, throw to Brody and go into the corner. And here comes Eric high. Okay, Eric comes high. All right, now, but what Eric's going to do, Eric's going to get the ball. Okay, and Brody, you're going to creep and run your thing. Now, Eric, you're going to do this. You're going to throw to number 3 and chase your pass instead of ball screen. Now, Los, you're still coming up high. You're still coming up high, and you're going to set a second ball screen for a man right here. Now, here's what's going to happen. Eric, after you set your screen, you're going to roll the basket. All right? You're going to roll the basket for a possibility, but throw the ball back out to Steve. All right? And what you're going to do is you're going to see what Steve's doing, because he may turn the corner and get all the way to the bucket. All right? If he doesn't, okay? If he doesn't, Los, after you set your screen, you're just going to, it's kind of a pick and pop. One of the things you may do out of this, Steve, is to hit Emily, go into the corner. Now, Eric comes on across to the ball side post after rolling like that, and we are back and ready to go into sideline triangle.
Well, I hope that this has given you an idea of some of the options that are available for you to be able to run this very versatile offense. Again, you can run against zones, you run against man-to-man. Again, I want to let you know these kids have never run this offense before, and at times it showed that a little bit tonight, but that's okay. You're going to have the same kind of hiccups, when you put the offense in. Again, let me say this: if you're a youth coach, you don't want to put in anywhere near as much as the stuff we're doing. You probably get by with just the dive option, for those post players. But again, it's an offense that allows you to go against man, zone, matchup. It doesn't matter. And the nice thing is you don't have to play any guessing games. You don't say, well, what defense are they in? Or are they in a man? Are they zone? Are they matchup? You run the same thing. The sideline triangle, once you get on that triangle side, it turns any defense into a man-to-man, whether it's a matchup or a zone. And so the nice thing about it is you can actually spend less practice time offensively once you've chosen the options that work for you. Then you can spend more time on fundamentals. I was a high school boys coach for the first 9 years of my career, and then college. I'm in my 47th year right now, so college all the years after that. And if I were a high school coach again, I know one thing: I'd want a simple offense. And I know we went through a lot of options here, but it really is a simple offense. And once you choose the options you want to run, and what allows you to do then is to spend more time on fundamentals. And if I were a high school coach, again, I would spend up to 1/3 of my practice time on fundamentals. I've seen people that have had wonderful offenses but don't have the players to be able to make the offense click. And we've been fortunate to win at this point in time 15 conference championships over the years. In high school, a state championship in Colorado, a state runner-up in Iowa, in national tournament teams at the collegiate level. And I know this, we never had a conference championship or a state championship or anything else with bad players. We always had good players. So player development is a really big thing. Again, if you want to look at the other video, it's the triangle zone offense and on YouTube, and you might want to compare notes between what was done here tonight and what was done in the previous video. Thanks.